this is MJ, and in today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make a granny stitch hat with a nice folded over ribbed band. The yarn that I'm using is Mary Maxim Prism. This is a DK weight number 3 yarn, and it is 100% acrylic, and I just love the gradient color, and this will also match some of my other granny stitch patterns that I've done. I've used a bunch of the different colors just so you can see the beautiful variety. This one I love for fall, these colors, but they're all gorgeous, the different colors that you can choose from. I'll be working with the color Rain Shower in this tutorial, and I'll be using my Furls crochet hooks, and you'll need a 5mm as well as a 4.5mm crochet hook. So I'm going to start with the 5mm and a magic ring. Now you're going to want to follow along with your pattern for the size you're working on. There's baby to adult size. And I'm going to chain 2, and I'm going to start with 12 double crochet in the ring. Now this will be the same number of stitches that we start with for our adult size, but we won't do as many increases for this baby size. But I do want to start out with this many stitches. If I go down to less stitches, the hat does tend to get a pointy effect, so I just prefer the look if I start it a little bit bigger. But don't worry about that. Don't look at the fact that this one has more stitches to start than some of the other sizes. I just want to start with this many to get up to the amount of stitches that I want. So you're looking at how many clusters or stitches you have in total, not what you start with. I know that can sometimes be confusing for people when they're looking at a pattern, but I start with different stitches to get the correct multiple that I need for the total stitch count. So a little variation in your starting ring is not going to affect the overall size. So I'm going to go ahead and work 12 double crochet in this ring. So now once you have your 12 stitches, I'm going to pull my ring tight. I'm going to take my tail. You're going to see only this loop's pulling in. This one's still sticking up. Just take the loop that started to pull in. You're going to give it a tug. Sometimes roving can be temperamental. There we go. So then take your tail and pull. Now we're going to slip stitch into our starting double crochet. You can see it's this one. I sometimes count just to make sure that that wasn't part of the chain. So we're going to slip stitch to join. I'm going to chain 2, not including that chain 2 as a stitch. And now we'll work 2 in every stitch around. So we'll slip stitch to our first double crochet to join, chain 2. Now I'm going to work 1 double crochet in the first stitch, 2 double crochet in the next. So our repeat, 1 double crochet in the next, 2 double crochet in the next. And you're going to repeat this all the way around. We'll be increasing to 36 stitches. Okay, I'm going to slip stitch in my first double crochet to join, chain 2, and this will be my last increase round. So I'm going to double crochet in the first, double crochet in the next, and then 2 double crochet in the next. So one more time with this repeat pattern, 1 in the next 2, and then 2 double crochet in the next. So I'll continue working this pattern around, so working 2 doubles, or 1 in each of the next 2, and then 2 in the next. And this is going to increase to 48 stitches. Which is what we need for this size. Okay, we'll slip stitch to join. I'm actually going to slip stitch, instead of going into the double crochet, I'm just going between the chain and the double to slip stitch, because now we're going to be working in between the stitches. So I'm going to chain 3, and this now counts as a double, and I'm going to do 2 doubles. Okay, and then we're skipping over 3 stitches. So 1, 2, 3, and then between the stitches, we're going to work 3. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and between 3 double crochet between the stitches. So we're ending up with a cluster now. Okay, there's no chaining in between. We want to keep the stitches fairly tight together. So we're just going and working between that 3rd and 4th double crochet. So skip 3 and then work a cluster, which is 3 double crochet between. So once you get around, you should be ending that you have 3 stitches, and we're just going to come over to the chain 3, slip stitch into it, and then slip stitch across. So in that double crochet, in this double crochet, and then into the space between the clusters. Okay, slip stitch across, and then we'll chain 3, work 2 double crochet, and then we're going to go in between the clusters, working a cluster between each cluster around. Okay, and this is as simple as the pattern is. So when you come back around again, you're just going to slip stitch into the chain, slip stitch over to this space, and keep working around. You could always turn your rounds if you prefer. I know some people prefer that method, but I like having I like staying on the right side. I prefer that more, so I'm going to do it this way. But if you want to turn your rounds, you can do that as well. So for this size, we want a total of 10 rounds. So that's including our very first round. Just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I have 6, and you want a total of 10. And then once you get that done, just working your clusters around, we'll meet back up and I'll show you how to do the band. You can see how pretty this color is working up. Okay, so I've completed 10 rounds in total. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to slip stitch in our starting chain to join, chain 1, and now I'll work a single crochet into every stitch. So in that first space, the next double, the next double. So we've done 3 for that first cluster, and then 3 for the next. So you're just working around just like this, and you should have a total of 48 stitches. Now I'm going to slip stitch in our first single crochet to join. I'm going to change over to my smaller hook, and I just find the smaller hook easier to work with when doing the band, but you could continue with the 5mm hook for this part as well. I just don't want you crocheting too tightly when you do this band, because you will notice it does pull in significantly. So I am going to chain out a total of 13. Then in the second chain from the hook, I'm going to work a single crochet, and I'm going to single crochet down the chain. Okay, so you should have a total of 12 stitches. I'm going to skip the first stitch and slip stitch into the next 2 stitches. I'll now turn and work single crochets through the back loop only. So once you work all the way across, you're going to chain 1, turn, and work back down along the row, working single crochets through the back loop only. It is a good idea to count as you go so you don't lose a stitch or gain a stitch. You want to remain at 12 stitches for the band. Now, if you wanted the band a little more narrow, like half the width, you could do that. This one's going to fold over, and you could also make it longer if you wanted more of a fold over. But this will be a good size for the baby size that we're making. Then we'll slip stitch in the next 2 stitches and repeat this all the way around the hat. Okay, turning. You always skip over the slip stitches, working into the back loop of the single crochet stitches. And you will have the same number of rows as you have stitches going around the hat, so 48 rows to account for the 48 stitches around the edge of the hat. So I'm going to complete working this off camera, and then I'll meet you up to seam up the band. Okay, so I have been working on the band, and I'm finishing with my 48th row up at the top. We'll chain 1, and then we're going to slip stitch it together. So we will be folding the band over, so we will just keep our slip stitched edge to this side of the hat. So go through the back loop, over to that starting chain, and slip stitch across. we'll do that through each stitch. Really quick and easy to get this seamed up. Okay, and then what we want to do is fasten off. Pull that through, and then we can weave this tail in. Okay, so let's just get rid of that. And as you can see how much it pulls in, that's why you want to make sure that your band's not too tight, but you do want that it has, that it does look like it snugs in, because you can see it does stretch out quite a bit. And we can fold this over. And now we can add, you could leave the hat just like this and not do anything else, but I do like to add a personalized tag to my crochet hats. And there's different options for that. Now I do find these ones are a little bit big for a hat this size. I have some different styles. So these ones are always nice. They'll fit on any size hat. And I get these from Amazon. But you can get tags that you can sew on, so you don't have to worry about these. You can pick either style. I order them from brickbubble.ca. And these ones I have to sew on, and I just use embroidery thread if I'm doing that. But these ones are a little bit quicker. Now you do need to use the tools and hammer them, but I'm not going to do that on camera, but it is really easy. It's not difficult to hammer these. I just like to pick out a size that I like, so that there's going to be a back and a front. In this kit, they do have some bigger ones as well. So if you were doing something that you needed thicker fabric, like maybe a bulky or super bulky weight yarn, you could maybe use those ones as well. So what you want to do is fold your tag over the position that you want it. Take the front, push it through. Okay, those will snap in place. Okay, and then you would place this here. Okay, and then you would just take your hammer and hammer that to make sure that it is nice and secure. And I also like to add pom-poms to the top. So for the adult hats, I usually go with a 5-inch pom-pom, 5 to 6-inch pom-pom. I also get these pom-poms from Amazon. You can always make yarn pom-poms, lots of different options. You can get different colors. I order mine from Amazon as well, and I will link them. And the smaller hats, I usually go with the 4.3-inch size. And what you do is you have these snaps, and you're going to sew the snap to the top of the hat. And this way you can pop the pom-pom off for washing. Now you can always use embroidery thread. If I can get my yarn onto one of my smaller needles, I just get that on there. You want to make sure your needle is small enough to go through these holes. So check that out, your needles, ahead of time to make sure you get one. I always keep one that's smaller that I have. And then I just go through the holes. And I like to give it a good knot. You can take these tails, you can leave them to the inside of the hat. And what you can do with your pom-poms is blow dry them, and that always fluffs them up nicely. They do get kind of squished in the packaging, so it's a good idea to give them a fluff. Snap that on. And this still looks massive compared to this little newborn size hat that we've made, but I'm really happy with the color. I think it's so pretty. And again, this was Rain Shower in Prism. But there's lots of cute colors to choose from. And the pattern is going to include your newborn up to adult size. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and tap the bell to stay updated on all my new videos and tutorials. Thanks so much, guys. Have an awesome day.